Welcome back to another Kyokushin Society vlog where we discuss Kyokushin Karate and other martial arts related content. Kyokushin Karate training consists of three main elements, which are referred as the 3K. Kihon being the basics, kata, the imaginary forms of fighting, and then kumite, the fighting element of training. By practicing these three elements together, you will be able to attain a well-rounded regimen of training throughout your journey as a Kyokushin Karate practitioner. In today's video, we will talk about the kata portion of the 3K and put emphasis on the discussion of the three fundamental principles of kata training, which are Waza no Kankyu, the tempo of technique, Chikara no Kojaku, the point of power stress, and Iki no Chosei, which is the breath control throughout the kata. There are over 30 katas in Kyokushin Karate, if you include the Ura katas also. And every single one of the katas is unique and has its own character. As you start your journey through the Kyu ranks and begin learning the Taikyoku katas and then the Pinan katas, you begin to learn and perfect different stances, techniques, and basic strategies. While performing these beginner katas, each technique and stance should be crisp and the kata should be performed with precision using good solid stances and techniques, and there should also be a beginner knowledge and understanding of the speed the kata must be performed at, the power stress points of the kata, and most importantly, the breath control during the kata. Through this diligent practice, execution, and observance of these concepts, your beginner katas will become fluid with great speed and power on the execution of the different stances and techniques used in the kata. At this point, you will probably be ready to start learning the more advanced katas by using the same basic principles you used to get you to this point. And at the same time, looking to always perfect your kata by working on perfecting the tempo, power stress points, and breath control during execution of the kata. During your training, you always look to improve your katas, and for that, you need full concentration on the task in hand. Need to repeat and practice the same kata until it becomes fluid and second nature like breathing and walking. They say that Sosai Masayama, while he was on his mountain retreat, used to practice kata 100 times a day every day. The way he was able to do this is to break up his training of the katas in three sections. To address the principles of the katas and to perfect and gain maximum results from each stance, move, and technique of the kata. Therefore, as we know them today, the three fundamental principles of Kyokushin Karate are: Number 1, Waza no Kanku, tempo of technique. Number 2, Chikara no Kojaku, the point of power stress. And number 3, Iki no Chosei, the breath control. By putting emphasis on these three principles, your kata will become sharp, fluid, strong, and your kata will improve dramatically. Let us take these three principles and discuss them separately for a moment. First one being Waza no Kanko, which is the tempo of techniques. Before you can even get to think about the tempo of the kata, obviously you must learn the proper sequence of the moves, which usually does not take a long time to learn. After this is done, it is now time to concentrate on the tempo of the kata. The tempo of the technique during the kata execution varies. Some of the combinations in the kata are performed at the rapid speed and some at the steady pace, and some techniques even executed at a slower pace. While performing the kata, the timing of the techniques is adjusted slightly to confuse the opponent by upsetting the timing and thus the ability to defend from a strike and counter. These tempo variations I call the broken rhythm of the kata. The tempo timing of the kata is an acquired sensibility as to the appropriate moment to execute any given technique. Practicing the kata once the sequence of the moves is learned by the beginner student with proper tempo of the moves is essential to improve the concept of speed of technique and timing. It is important to execute the kata with the right speed, rhythm, and timing. As Shion Cameron Quinn explains it in his book, The Buddha Karate of Masayama. This principle is universal. In all sports, the master is the one who has learned to control the tempo in all movement, and to be aware when the need for change presents itself. He can go hard with raw power when required, but he can be controlled in his technique and rhythm when that is more appropriate. The second fundamental principle of kata training is shikara no kojako, which is the strong or weak force of the power. All the power of the technique derives from the proper use of balance between strength and relaxation. Every punch, block, kick, and throw executed in the kata must be done with vigorous intent. Remember that the kata is performed by fighting an imaginary opponent. You should visualize striking specific areas of your imaginary opponent's body with proper amount of force projection to enhance the precision and maximize the effect of the techniques used. It is with the help of this visual force projection that you can develop great energy transfer to exact point of contact on your opponent's body when faced with it in a real combat situation. The techniques executed in the kata with a kiai are the high points of the kata, and maximum power is used at these counts in the kata. At the same time, there are places where you must also remain relaxed during the execution of your kata. If you fail to do this and tense your body instead, your reflexive responses will be slowed down dramatically. Remember that relaxation in between the execution of the techniques is a key factor. In generating speed, and speed of technique is the most direct route to power transfer. The concentration and use of power vary greatly between techniques while executing a kata. Some of the techniques are done with maximum power directed to a single point on the opponent's body, usually the counts with the kiai in the kata, where other moves are done fast in as a relaxed state as possible, allowing the fluid flow of the movement to direct the power onto the opponent's body. The third principle Sosai Masayama used in the practice of kata is Iki no Chosei, the breath control. The breath control during execution of kata is vital. You need to learn how to use proper breathing with conjunction of using tempo and points of power stress in the kata. Breathing is something that you do from birth to death, and most of us take it for granted. However, the way you breathe is especially important, and it has direct consequences on the body, on the way that you feel, and your ability to perform physical movements. If you are a serious martial arts practitioner, no matter in what style, you will know that breath control and how to breathe properly while practicing martial arts, techniques, and moves is the most important basic skill. During Kihon practice, kumite, and kata exercises, being able to have optimal breath control is key to managing the physical and emotional responsiveness of the situation you are in. Breath control is again vital for your being able to execute a proper technique. Inhalation typically should occur through the nose when preparing to do a technique, and exhalation typically should occur through the mouth when the technique is executed. Breath control is important throughout the kata and is also an essential part of the use of the kiai. By doing a proper kiai in conjunction with the right speed, power, and breathing correctly, a punch, kick, or throw can be devastating for your opponent. Breathing is considered one of the most important exercises in karate because it bestows physical and emotional benefits for the practitioner. It is the only physiological process of which we voluntarily and involuntarily have control of. Controlled breathing changes subliminal energies in the body, leading to better health and well-being, and it can help with stress as it affects on the nervous system. One of the goals for breath control in martial arts is to generate as much power as possible when executing techniques. When you practice correct breath control, this leads to a relaxed yet energetically efficient state for training combat and kata performance. If you can combine breath control with the use of the right tempo and power used to execute a stance and a technique, your kata will then become fluid, sharp, powerful, and beautiful at the same time. With this said, we conclude today's video about the fundamental principles of the kata element of the 3K, Kihon, Kata, and Kumite in Kyokushin Karate. I would love to hear about your own experiences and thoughts on the subject in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys on the next video. Arigato.